Now, this has been a busy day for you, obviously, but your initial impressions taking this job, a lot of people around the league say, well, it's not a great job, but I think it's a great job because you have nowhere to go but up, right?
I think so, and when you step back and you really looked at what could happen if you got it right, it's exciting. I mean, I think it's a calculated risk that I'm prepared to take. I left a great program with the Spurs. I've been there for many years, and I feel that the ownership group, the new general manager, the direction that it's going, and plus being in the city. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in Boston, and I get it. I think the pulse of the city excites me, and I agree with you. There's no place to go but up.
Obviously, you worked in a very successful environment in San Antonio, and I got to be honest with you. If you present that type of team to this fan base, I think it's going to work. Is that what your philosophy is going to be?
Well, I think everybody has to understand how hard it is to get to that level. It's evolved over many years. We had the good fortune of a ping pong ball dropping, and here comes Tim Duncan, and the surprise talents of Manu Ginobili as a very late second-round draft pick, the development of a late first-round point guard in Tony Parker. So you've seen, the development side of it. You saw a ping pong ball side of it. You saw the luck side of it, really, with Ginobili. And all of those things factor in where it takes time. You need a little bit of luck. And the trick is you got to go day-to-day steady. You really got to run a good organization. And so much of what I have learned from that organization is how you just can't skip steps. You got to bang out good days.
All right, so Noel is Duncan, and Michael Carter-Williams is Tony Parker. And we're ready to go, right?
Yeah, I tell you what, how good would that be?
Well, it would be great. And I know how you value a point guard. You're a point guard yourself, and you're a very good player at BU under Pitino. And so now, when you look at this point guard situation with Michael Carter-Williams, what kind of point guard do you need to make him?
I think you just got to cultivate what he is. He is an instinctive, long pass first type of point guard. His future is going to be, can he shoot? People are going to go on to him in pick and rolls, and we start with Tony. I just think that he's really got some unique skills where he sees the floor. I think there's a different gear that he has getting to the rim. And his better days obviously are ahead of him physically. He's gifted. And then we got to find other people that can step up. And Sam's going to go out and try to find players like we did with Gary Neal or Danny Green. You got to trip on a little bit of things there. But I think that the team, is one that needs to be built.
From afar, what have you seen in Evan Turner that you see that he has not become the player that a lot of people thought he would right away?
I really can't sort of dig in there because I don't feel that I paid attention enough. I know that when we played them, you always were impressed with his physical skills. And you'd see, he's posting up a three-man, or now he's a point guard, or, he's been able to make some threes from the corner.
As a first-year coach, can you be hard on players as you would like to be? Or what kind of a head? Because it's a transition going from assistant where you're kind of a liaison between the coach. You're more chummy with these guys. You have now as the head coach. Do you have to jump on them a little bit?
I think you have to. I think that's what all great players want. They want accountability. They want to be told the truth. They want to be in a structure that means something, and everybody wants that. I think in most professions, and players are no different. And I got a clear way I want to coach. Some of it's morphed with the Olympic Games. Some of it's morphed with Pop. The learning experience I had with Pitino and so on. You take, beg, borrow, and steal all of that to form your own beliefs. And I think the common denominator that sees them all through is people want to be told the truth. They want to be put in an environment that's real. And I think the structure that we have to put in place is something I feel comfortable with, and that's my plan. And like I said at the press conference today, the pain of a rebuild / losing at times is real. And as a city, we're all going to go through it. And I like the draft. I'm on board with the plan. I think it's wise. I think it's going to pay dividends in the end. I would not have left San Antonio if I didn't think the things that I'm saying. I think how you get people to come into the program is when they see that it's got a future, it's got direction. I feel like the new practice facility will also give stability where people feel like they have a home. And like anything, people want to be a part of winning programs and a part of things that appear to be heading in the right direction. And I just feel like the program's at a stage where we may be able, and we'll do everything that we can to bring it forward. I think the simplest way to say it is trying to implement a system. You know, I think you're going to need a system on offense, you're going to need a system on defense, you're going to need rules on what you expect just from a accountability standpoint. You know, all those basic things that are just sort of cornerstones to building a program. And then over time, you hope that the players respect the environment. Along that path, you know, there's going to be some heartache, and there's going to have to be some discipline at times. You know, there's going to be a high level of accountability. You know, our standards need to be higher than trying to make the playoffs once every 5 years, 4 years, whatever. You know, you really try to want to build a program that has a chance to do something better than that, and that does take time.